Good evening, I'm Julie Williams.
And I'm Mark Kiesling. A family is finally getting justice 2 years after losing a member to gun violence.
Right now, the 3 men involved in that shooting are waiting for their sentence. News 3's Danny Valle is live outside the Jackson County Courthouse right now in Murfreesboro. Good evening, Danny.
Julie, Mark, good evening. The suspects were taken into custody months after the death of Jamont Allison Sr. in 2020. 2 of the men pled guilty. A jury found a 3rd man guilty just last Friday after a 2-week trial.
There's one less shooter on the street, and maybe there's a family now that can get some type of closure.
The murder trial of DeVale Johnson ended last Friday with a guilty verdict after 2 weeks in court. The case itself began in 2020. Police at the time only had a vehicle description to work with, but the case grew stronger with time, according to Jackson County State's Attorney Joe Cervantes.
It took a lot of puzzle pieces being put together in order to make this happen. When you have that much video, it takes a lot of time to get that video into evidence. It takes a lot of time just to even find that vehicle in the hours and hours and hours of video.
Johnson's guilty verdict closes the door on a case that began 25 months ago, just down the street on the 1000 block of Robert A. Stalls Avenue in Carbondale. It was August 17, 2020 when police responded to the area and found Jamont Allison Sr. with multiple gunshot wounds. He later died at a hospital, but 2 months later, Johnson and others were arrested in Orange County, Florida.
Since January 1st, police have arrested 22 gun offenders in Jackson County. Cervantes says Johnson's verdict sends a strong message that gun violence won't be tolerated.
Most of the conflict that these kids, these young adults have are over trivial things. Guns is not the way to solve it. But if they choose guns, it's going to be a path where they meet our prosecutors here in our office. And I just don't want that to happen.
And Mark, Julie, the other 2 suspects in the case that were found guilty, they pled guilty rather, were Micah Williams and Victor Perdaman. Williams entered the guilty plea in October 2020, while Perdaman entered his back in February. Both men are scheduled to be sentenced September 27th. Meanwhile, DeVale Johnson's sentencing date has not been scheduled. Reporting live outside the Jackson County Courthouse in Murfreesboro, Danny Valle, News 3.